with you. Today has been an interesting day, and I've already felt a lot of messages coming through me. Sometimes before these connections or before we hop online together, I'll start getting information and I'll start getting guidance around what the theme is or what the message is that I'm here to share. And earlier this morning, I did a one-to-one session, a beautiful one-to-one session that reminded me of the potency of those connections as I've taken a couple years off. And so to be able to share in that space, to open and access the soul memories, and to really get clear on some of the things, those deeper feelings that we've had feelings about, all of us have had feelings about, or we've had that feeling of homesickness that we can't quite explain, or we don't necessarily feel like we belong here, or maybe we are not really connected to this earth or this planet, or we don't understand humans or humanity or why they try to hurt or harm each other, or like some of those mysteries that we can't really quite put our finger on and don't necessarily know how to reconcile within. A lot of those questions are answered, one, in the Embody Your Higher Self course. That course is specifically designed to help you anchor the clarity of your divine truth. And really, what it is it's like just peeling layers, peeling you like an orange, peeling away the systemic belief, the family programming, the viral systems, the Terra Nova testing, where I grew up, we had Terra Nova tests. But basically it's school testing that makes you learn a certain set of curriculum. Well, when you're a child and you're learning a certain set of curriculum that fits in this big of a box, and the world is massive and the universe is massive, and your imagination and the connection to your own heart is what anchors a true level of divinity within yourself. But we're so focused on the mental programming and the mental efficiency and the mental logic, rationale, reason, that we disconnect ourselves from our heart, and we disconnect ourselves from our womb as women. For men, your own abilities to do and connect with your own masculine energy. Let's just feel that for a moment. There's already a lot of energy moving. I can feel it. So in the presence of becoming aware of who you are in a soul way, that if you can for a moment, let's just kind of play with this a little bit. If you can for a moment, think about who you were, and these are funny English words to use, but think about who you were before the moment of conception. Yotranaya kietrona sikia akapuna. So connecting to the awareness that your soul has full and complete memory and information of exactly who you were before you incarnated into this body that you are in, which has become the egoic identity of the name and the body and the person that you are. So I'll tell you something really interesting that happened. So a lot of you know that my given name, my birth name, is Samantha. I created a huge name for myself as Samantha Faye several years ago and went through a massive, I would say, third level of an awakening myself when I started channeling light language. Well, when I started channeling light language, I became much more aware. I'd seen visions ever since I was a little girl, but I became much more aware of who I am on a soul level beyond the incarnation of Samantha, beyond the incarnation of this particular body. So when I started going by the name Sitara or Sitara, either is totally fine. I sat with it for about 10 months. I didn't tell anybody. I think I told a handful of people, maybe my advanced level psychic students, about what had taken place and about what was shown to me when I was shown the name Sitara. I was shown who Sitara is. I was shown that I am the embodiment of Sitara in this body. All sorts of stuff started coming up and coming through. Well, I sat on it for about 9 or 10 months because I didn't want to, be one of those people that moved to Bali and came back with a different spiritual name, and to be honest, it's not even really about that for me. It was a lot more challenging for me to accept that it was important for me to go through the name change and to make that shift, being that it's not the common normal thing in Western society and all this and that. And so in the time that I started going by the name Sitara, I how it happened actually was that I was helping a friend deliver a baby at her home in Bali. And I am not a midwife, I am not a trained doula. It was one of these things that was intuitively guided by myself, by her. It was something that I was predicting coming in. It was a really profound experience. But I shared with her what this time was as we were waiting for her to go into labor. And so she encouraged me to start going by the name Sitara. Well, when I started doing that, there were pieces of myself, there were parts of myself that started illuminating with this golden consciousness within. When I would hear people call me that, it was like, oh my gosh, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for recognizing me. I'll also, little small caveat, is that I never particularly liked the name that I was given. And by no, offense to my parents by any means. That's not what this is about at all. There was just something even when I was growing up that I was like, this doesn't quite fit me. This isn't quite, I didn't even know what the term resonated meant, but it didn't quite resonate. In fact, I even tried changing my name a couple times in elementary school and it just did not go well because they were like, no, your name's Samantha. So when I started going by the name Sitara, there was a massive shift that happened for me because it didn't quite resonate, right? And neither did Samantha. And so, because I hadn't quite anchored in the frequency and the awareness and the capacity of shifting my name to Sitara, there was something really profound that happened. Because for about 2 months, I was not resonating with either name fully. And my ego had not shifted from Samantha, and it had not quite, adopted this shift. And so, if you can even imagine all of the labels that we pull off of ourselves, father, wife, husband, daughter, CEO, whatever label we put on ourselves, our identity attaches to that as that is a role that we play. And so when you take the egoic attachment to your name and you disconnect it, and so the label of your name as who you are in this world starts to dissolve, it starts to disintegrate. And so when that starts to disintegrate and that starts to dissolve, and I'm talking the ego identity to the belief or the idea of who you are as that person, as that role. So for about 2 months, I walked in this space of not having an attachment to a name, no identity to a name. It did something very interesting in rearranging the egoic identity of who I believed myself to be, who I saw myself as the role that I'm playing here, the role that I'm stepping into, and all of these things. There was a lot of shifts and awareness and perspectives that started to open up that would have never opened up ever. I never even thought that any of these perspectives or thoughts or things that were occurring would be occurring because I never actually even entertained the idea of shifting or changing my name because I didn't go pick it out, right? I didn't go and shift and say, okay, well, I just want to be called this. That wasn't what happened. It was something that arose from within me, was presented to me as a deeper truth within my soul, a deeper truth that began resonating very clearly and very strongly as I started introducing my name as Sitara to people who had never met me. And now there's a whole other component of the awareness of the name Sitara as an activation, as a mantra for those who resonate with the word Tara. and specifically with the syllable tar. So each of these syllables, and to take it a bit further with light language, io siatarai ikun oapu kuatara haakupu uku naki ia siatarai, right? It sounds almost very Hawaiian in the sense that every syllable is pronounced very clearly. Well, every syllable, in the same way that we have other ancient Sanskrit chants of Om tare tutare tore soha, or Om Mane Padme Hum. Those are two, right? Just to kind of play with this a little bit. Each one of those syllables is an activator of our own consciousness. So tar is an activator of our own consciousness to those whose soul resonate to a planet known as Tara. And so when I introduce myself as Sitara or Sitara, it's very interesting to me the people who have a very specific resonance to that name, right? It's like it will open a whole conversation. Some people will just be like, oh, I'll never remember that. That's a weird name. And some people are like, wow, where is that from? What does it mean? What da 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 da. That's when I notice that there's a remembrance coming online. The remembrance is coming from a deeper place within your soul that identifies with the awareness that your soul has incarnated on other planets. These memories are inside of every single human being here. Hi, Miss Robin. I'm so glad you're here, my love. So it may not be that every single person here, every single person that I speak to has a resonance with the planet Tara, but it's possible that there's a resonance to the planet Karnak, or a resonance to the planet of the Syrian star nation. There's a resonance to these ancient lineages that have been here on the planet that are unexplained by modern sciences, that we have soul connections to. So when I talk about activating soul memories, this is what I'm talking about. The activation of soul memories. So the activation and the awareness of these soul memories happens by opening your heart and healing the pain that is in your heart, the grudges that you hold, the resentment that you hold, the pain that you hold there as a block from keeping other things from occurring or happening. Ironically, it's a magnet that keeps the same pattern repeating, coming back to you. And also, there's a shift that happens when you start opening and healing your heart that allows these soul memories to start opening up. So again, those codes very gently and very easily are in the 7 weeks to embody your higher self program. Now, I've had people that have enrolled in that program and gone through it even a year later and have recognized the difference and the shift in themselves and have still been able to hear that program differently. And they've been able to hear that program differently because of where they are resonating at now. So the beautiful part and the beautiful component that exists and is available for you inside of your heart as you are right now. When I was naming the program, I thought it was funny because I was wrestling with the 7 weeks. I started learning about my higher self when I was young, and I thought that it was something that you had to channel, that it was something out there, as I was a baby on my own spiritual journey, trying to understand how to harness my mediumship. I was born with these abilities. I was born as a little girl with the ability to see and hear spirit. I didn't know that that was different. I didn't know that that wasn't like common a common thing. So when I was younger, I was trying to find my answers. I was trying to find my way to explain these things that were happening inside of me. And so the 7 weeks to embody your higher self course is really kind of a little bit of a play on words, because your higher self is already embodied in you. You are your higher self. It's not like away from you sort of thing. But when I was at the beginning of my own journey, this is like 13 years ago, one, I started understanding psychology. I had to understand certain family patterns. I had to understand why things were the way that they were. I was grasping for answers to be able to reconcile and come to terms with some of the things that had taken place in my childhood. Well, through that, I recognized that psychology only focused on mind and body. So I wanted to start becoming more aware of spirit. When I went and did one of my first psychic readings, which I'll share in another video, I think I have, but I'll share it again. Um, it just became very, very apparent to me that what was going on through healing could happen so much faster through the psychic work and the energy healing than it could through talk therapy or psychology. And I think every single person finds their way to their mode of healing at exactly the right time for them, because not every single person is ready to start going down the wormhole of light language and other dimensions and other planets and awakening soul memories, right? If I was to start finding that when I was 14, man, it probably would have blasted my socks off. But the point in this experience is that through the Embody Your Higher Self program, there is a way for you to be able to understand and cultivate a very strong foundation and understanding of who you are that is unwavering. You do not have to convince anybody of it. You do not have to prove yourself in any way, shape, or form, because once it becomes the embodiment, you are sure of it. You are clear in it. And I'll be honest, in the experience of me anchoring the name, even just the frequency of Sitara, I've gone in and out. I've oscillated for sure. And as we do on our path of awakening, it's like some days we can really hold a very, very vast, expanded container. And then some days we're contracted and we're hurting and we're unearthing things that are coming out. And so there's a way to be very patient with yourself, to let it unfold very naturally. But I've dedicated my life to be able to share this information because I believe it's why I'm here. I believe I'm here to be a spokesperson. I believe I'm here to help people make a wild abundance living out their soul purpose. One of my biggest ha 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 pet peeves is when I see people who are wildly talented healers and psychics who haven't quite yet turned on the awareness of their own abilities, and also who are treating, as I say, treating healing as a hobby. You know, we don't need more waiters and waitresses. We don't need more factory workers. We don't need more of this. Oh, yes, thank you, Robin. Robin is a dear friend, soul compadre, and has been in several of the programs. So she's sharing a little bit about the Embody Your Higher Self program there and what it does to assist anchoring in the awareness. And it's really, yes, it is about anchoring more light, but the way that you're able to anchor more light is by clearing out all of the energy that is not you, which brings us back to, we'll call it Terra Nova testing. It brings us back to the box that we were put in elementary school of like, this is how you have to focus and this is how you have to exist in the world, and you have to follow directions. You picking up what I'm putting down? When you start clearing that out of your field, you start being able to anchor more light. And so that's what we're inviting you to cultivate. And it was not my intention to come in here and talk a lot about the Embody Your Higher Self program, but obviously that is also what wanted to come through. So I'll leave the link for that in the description below. There are several tiers of the offerings that is Monad, that of course the door is open and you are welcome to walk through whenever it is that you are ready and when you feel called. What I know is that you will start to feel those inklings, you'll start to feel those ideas, you'll start to think about it more often, and you'll know when you're ready, truly, because they are life-changing experiences, and these connections that we have here are life-changing. So for that, I just simply want to say thank you for coming and listening. Thank you for tuning in. I'd love, love, love to hear how this resonated for you in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you have a resonance to it? Do you have questions for it? Or do you have questions that have come up for you? I do go through and read every comment. And so I absolutely love hearing from you. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just say it a couple more times. Absolutely. So with that, my dears, thank you for coming to join me today. And yes, the call that we did yesterday, or the recording that we did yesterday, was quite a strong energy transmission moving through. So that'll also give you a bit of a sample of what goes on in some of our classes when you're ready to go deeper. So with that, my dears, just sending you so much love, so much appreciation. Thank you for being here with me. And I do look forward to communicating with you, learning more about your dreams, your visions, all of the above. Yes, Carolee, hi Ted. Thank you all for being here. Very much appreciated. Of course, like, subscribe, play the algorithm game with me, help me get these videos out to more by playing, we just have to play the tech game here sometimes. So I appreciate your participation in that. And with that, I love you. I adore you. I will see you again tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time right here. All right, my friends. Mwah, have a beautiful day, and I'll chat with you soon.